Hey there, Angry Faithful. I just wanted to drop in, bend your ear a little bit, get your attention. So if you're not listening, drop what you're doing and pay attention to me, because I'm here to inform you that not only can you get your daily, maybe if you're binging it, I'm not sure, that's entirely up to you, but you can multiply your doses of angry me fuckery by paying attention to all of the platforms upon which you can find either the dulcet tones of my voice and David's voice, or my pretty face and David's not so pretty face. Anyways, digressing, we not only we are on YouTube, we are on Spotify, we're on Rumble, we're on Google, Apple Podcast. We have a TikTok page. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and of course Facebook. So if you find yourself fuckery deprived, curl up with a nice hot mug of shut the fuck up and just listen. Open those ear holes and be prepared to be cream pied like it's the first time. Thanks for listening.
Welcome, Angry Faithful. Today and I messed up last episode. It's 76th episode. We've actually done more than
76.
No, this is 78.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
yeah.
All right, so all right, and because I have this new microphone here, I have to just stand it up instead of there. We go. See, now everybody can hear me.
And we're going to talk about Hornocine. It's a Swedish puck game. It's kind of like farmer's golf. The puck goes 186 miles per hour. We're not going to use the forbidden kilometer shit. But there we go. That's actually an interesting sport. Basically,
Okay.
golf.
Hey, okay, so I'm sitting here looking at my backdrop, and I see Grogu back here, right? You've got Bad Touch Bob, right?
Yeah. We're not using that as fucking bad touch. Put it fucking back. Oh, that's cute. That is awesome.
I was like, so Grogu could show us where on Bad Touch Bob.
No, we're not doing that either. No, we do not. We do. Grogu.
We're leaving Baby Yoda alone.
We're leaving Baby.
We're leaving the kid alone. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that this episode, it's Thursday now, and it's probably not going to come out until a little bit later tonight. We're going to try to keep it really short.
Yeah.
I had to travel earlier this week, and I had to travel for personal reasons this week, and
and we don't have our extra host because he is doing stuff. He came in yesterday. We just bullshitted for about an hour, and then he had to go to bed. But I didn't expect him today after what I really didn't, because he ended up having to do an event today. It was only an hour away, but he had a lot of prep time to do a bunch of other stuff for it. But
our NFL picks this week are going to be just a little bit skewed, and that's because the Thursday night game is currently going on right now. So.
Yeah. One last thing though.
Okay.
Chris was right, and you were wrong.
Yeah, Chris was right. Chris, if you're listening, which I know you are, because you're just that kind of a guy, you were right. You told me so. The Patriots absolutely spanked the Lions. We will get into that here in just a few minutes.
That wasn't spanking, but yeah, you're okay.
Dude, they shut out the Lions.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's playoff baseball time, everybody, and this is great. Seattle,
Johnny's time frame right now because he has a scroll.
Seattle took out Toronto in 2 games. The Padres beat the Mets in 2 games. The thing about the Padres Mets the Padres beat the Mets in 3 games, but the thing about game 3 between the Mets and the Padres, Joe Musgrove, who pitched for the 2017 Houston Astros when they went all the way, he was on the mound for the Padres for game 3, and he was absolutely perfect. I think through like 5 and 2/3 or 5 and a third inning or something like that. He took a perfect game into the 6th inning, and the Mets had absolutely no answer for him at all. So I think it was during the 7th inning, the manager for the New York Mets, Buck Showalter, being the consummate showman that he is, comes out. He calls the refs, or the umpires over, and he's like, I need you to go inspect Joe Musgrove, because we think he's using a foreign substance, which we went over that earlier in the year, where sticky stuff was banned by MLB for pitchers to use to help them get grip on the ball, that kind of thing. The only thing that's allowed anymore is rosin.
Yeah,
but the umpires went over there. I mean, they looked at his hands, they looked at his hat, they checked his glove, they even rubbed his sweaty ass red ears. And then they turned around and looked at Buck Showalter and was like, "Yeah, he's good," And of course, Musgrove, he kind of took exception to that, and it fired him up a little bit. I mean, rightfully so, it should have. And he commences to striking out the side, and well, not striking out the side, but he struck out the last 2 batters that he saw. And when he was walking off the mound to go back to his dugout, he looks over at the New York dugout, and he kind of just goes like that, just kind of puts his fingers under his nose and just kind of throws a peace sign out at the New York dugout. And I mean, it was bad. I mean, the New York Mets became the first team to win 100 games and lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Jesus.
Yeah. But so Seattle took care of business up in Toronto. The Mariners hadn't been to the playoffs in 21 years, and it was the longest playoff drought in Major League history. And so they go up to Toronto. Toronto was heavily favored, and some guys had Toronto picked to go all the way and win the World Series, or at the very least go to the World Series. But Toronto just kind of looked lost. And in game 2 of that series, they were up like 9-5 or something like that, or 9-3 or something. I mean, the Mariners, I think they were down at one point by 7 runs, and so in the top of the 9th, the Mariners came back, not only tied the game, but they took the lead, and then sent the Toronto fan base home very unhappy. I mean, everybody was expecting Toronto to just completely blow Seattle out of the water. And, I mean, now granted, Seattle's now down 2-0 in the divisional series to the Astros, but that playoff series is fixing to shift back to Seattle for tomorrow. No, well, they're traveling tomorrow, and then the series resumes on Saturday, I think it is. But
this single elimination?
No, yeah, it's single elimination. I mean, you're still playing a series, so it's a best of, and and for the divisional series, it's a best of 5.
Every year, I'm going to end up asking the same fucking question every year.
It's okay. It's okay. But with in the Phillies and the Dodgers, they're tied up a game apiece. Not Phillies and the Dodgers. Phillies and the Braves, they're tied up a game apiece. New York leads their series against the Cleveland Guardians at 1-0. Their game was postponed today because of rain. And then let's see, Seattle or San Diego and the Dodgers, during the regular season, they are division rivals, and they are tied at a game apiece right now. So that series shifted to San Diego. The series for between Atlanta and Philadelphia, that's up in Philadelphia now. So playoff baseball is just really fun to watch. Now, do I expect the Cleveland Guardians to show up at some point and start actually playing baseball against the Yankees? Yeah, I do. Do I expect Seattle to at least pull out one game from their series, from the series between them and the Astros? Yeah, I do. I expect Seattle to at least win one game. I think ultimately, and it pains me to say it, but I think Houston's gonna get the better of Seattle. I would love to see Cleveland beat New York. Obviously, being a Red Sox fan and everything, I love to see any time the Yankees lose. I think Atlanta's they're gonna figure it out. They're gonna get everything together, and they're gonna finish. They're gonna take out Philadelphia, and they're gonna continue on in their quest to defend their World Series championship from last year. The Dodgers and the Padres, though, on paper, the Dodgers are going to win that series. They've got the series or the season series over the Padres. I think it was like 6-2 or something like that. But I think that Seattle or San Diego is getting hot at the right time. I think that they're going to take care of ultimately, I think it's going to be a 5-game series. It's going to go the distance for the divisional series. And I think the Padres are going to come out on top. And it's not because I don't like the Dodgers. It's just that I think that Seattle's getting hot at the right time, and they're chippy enough right now that they think that they can win. You're going to get their bats coming alive at the opportune times. Their pitching staff is going to step up, and it's going to be an interesting postseason. I would love to see an Atlanta-Houston repeat for the World Series. But at this point, I would be okay also seeing the Padres in the World Series as well. If it comes down to it, if the Yankees finish off Cleveland and the Astros finish off Seattle, and it's going to be a New York, Houston, ALCS, I'm begrudgingly going to have to pull for the Astros. So it's yeah, I don't know. I would love to see Seattle get to the World Series just because they've never been. In fact, they are the last Major League Baseball team who hasn't been to a World Series.
Really?
So, yeah. It's just like, it's that joke where you can just, it's got interchangeable parts. It's like, it's just like, what does a Cowboys fan do after watching their team win the Super Bowl? Well, they pack up the VCR and put the tape away. But
or even she's a 10, but she's a Cowboy fan. Well, she's kind of an 11 because she doesn't expect a ring.
Yeah. Well, we're going to move on to football. I'm just going to use that as a segue.
Yeah. One thing that happened before we get into the actual football stuff, there is actual football news. The Panthers, Carolina Panthers, are shopping around for a new coach.
Yeah, I saw that. They fired their head coach,
Matt Roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got his pink slip yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna kind of run down. I'm gonna go over our picks. I'm gonna type them in as I go, and then I'm just gonna shoot them over to you real quick, David, so that way we can get it posted. But yeah. We're gonna go over the picks for this week, and then we're gonna go over the scores from last week. I'm gonna jump into some NASCAR news real quick. Then we're gonna get joke time with Colin in between that. So, all right, let me go ahead and do this then. All right. So what we're looking at is Washington and Chicago. They're playing right now. There's about 35 seconds left in the first quarter. The score is tied up at 0. So I think I'm going to take Chicago.
You going with the Bears?
I'm going with the Bears.
The Bears.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go with Chicago over Washington. Helps if I could spell correctly. INGTON. There we go. All right. San Francisco versus the Atlanta Falcons. San Francisco's 3-2. Atlanta's 2-3. They're playing in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Dome. I'm going to take the Niners.
Brown mind like that call
Over the Falcons, and then we're looking at New England.
After the beating that
New England humbled me by doing what they did to the Lions.
Can't mess with the Belichick.
Yeah, they're playing the Browns. I think we're going to take New England over the Browns.
Good call.
The New York Football Jets at the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay got they pried defeat from the jaws of victory last week against the Giants when they were playing in London. So, Green Bay has got the talents. I mean, obviously, the record reflects it at this point. They're 3-2, but they're just making bad decisions. I'm going to pick the Jets. For this week's upset pick. I got the Jets beating the Packers. That's all there is to it. I know that there's going to be a lot of hate out there, like, oh, what are you doing? I mean, this is a no-brainer. Well, I would say that it's a no-brainer, but this isn't the same Jets team that we've seen over the last couple of years. I know that it's a bold pick, Cotton. I'm waiting to see how that plays out for me. But at the end of the day, I'm just still kind of looking at it like, New York's kind of on a high right now, and Green Bay, they're coming back from London. There's going to be a little bit of jet lag. I mean, these are professional athletes, and they should, kind of get their shit together. But I think that the Packers are just kind of disjointed right now, and I think that the Jets are going to kind of take advantage of that. Now, going forward, we're talking about Jacksonville versus Indianapolis. Jacksonville's kind of a train wreck right now at 2-3. Indianapolis has got a 2-1 record. I'm going to look at that record. I'm going to say 2-1. I'm going to be like, I was there for the one. Man, you know what? I'm going to take the Colts on that one over the Jags. So moving on, we're talking about Minnesota, who's 4-1 versus Miami. They're at Miami. Miami's 3-2 right now. Miami, they had a promising start, but then the Dolphins and the NFL did what they did to Tua. And it's just, ever since that story broke and you started seeing the video of Tua just kind of stumbling around before he got tossed to the ground and locked up, you start seeing and hearing about a lot more players, playing with and through concussions. I mean, Joe Burrow.
We were talking about this Monday, and you were saying it might be the helmets, and it could be, very well be.
Yeah, it very well could be the new helmets, but I think too, and there's concussion news to talk about with NASCAR as well. We'll get to that in just a minute. So concussions are becoming a really big thing. And I think that, they're sacrificing speed and comfort over safety. I'm not saying that they need to wear those big, like, air bladder helmets or anything like that, like you see sometimes in practice. But I really think that somewhere along the line, these neurosurgeons and these experts on concussions and the competition committees and the safety committees, they are kind of just taking a backseat to the money that the league or the series that are making.
Yeah.
But getting back to our pick.
Go ahead.
Getting back to our pick, I'm gonna take the Vikings. I'm gonna take the Vikings over the Dolphins on that one because again, the Miami Dolphins, they're kind of a ship without a captain right now. They don't have really anybody that they can truly depend upon. I mean, yeah, their backup quarterback who's been starting for Tua since, Tua got hurt officially. Um, I mean, he's got like little sparks of brilliance, but he's by no means a Cooper Rush. And I'm not a Cooper Rush convert or anything like that. But I think Miami right now, they're just kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And, like we stated last week, and well, more specifically, like Chris stated last week, Miami's kind of an emotional wreck right now. And, so I think that, I think that that's going to play into, Minnesota's, wheelhouse. And at 4-1, Minnesota's leading their division anyway. So, I mean, I know that on any given Sunday, anybody can lose, but on the same token, anybody can win. So, but I'm thinking we're going to take the Vikings over the Dolphins on that one. Now, moving on, we're talking about Cincinnati coming to New Orleans. Joe Burrow said that, he's played with concussions. He suffers from headaches all the time. He's even blacked out during the second half of games and has played an entire half of games without remembering it at some points last year. So I mean, he's going to be, his shelf life isn't going to be very, very, very long for this world if he keeps, playing that way. But the problem with that is that if he were to take a week or two off or, enter the concussion protocol, that the NFL just seems to willingly, amend
Pushes
on a
them
weekly
out.
basis. Yeah. I'm not saying stay in the pocket. I'm not saying step out on that field and suit up for the sake of a win, because at the end of the day, this career is only going to be so finite, and you've got the rest of your life to try to deal with these problems. And, having been somebody, having being somebody well, let me rephrase that because I can speak English. Being somebody who has suffered concussions myself in the past, I know that, I get those nasty concussion type headaches, and, it's disorienting. It's debilitating is what it is. And, I mean, yeah, there's little tricks like, it's like, okay, take some Dramamine and go to sleep, kind of a thing. It's not a pain pill, so I'm not getting addicted to pain medication or anything like that. I mean, these are just kind of like off the wall remedies that have worked. And I'm not saying that that's going to be the cure all, but I mean, somebody from a concussion expert standpoint needs to step in and tell the league, hey, look, we have an epidemic on our hands, and it needs to be addressed because we've got guys that are hitting harder. They are running faster. I mean, the pads have gotten lighter, but they have gotten, I don't necessarily know if the plastic that they're using in these helmets or in the plastic that they're using in these pads have gotten denser or whatever.
I wonder if it's the same kind that they use for hockey, because there was a fucking YouTube video. It's some kind of orange plastic thing that's very manual, but once it's hit by a strong kinetic force, it hardens.
Yeah. So it's like a non-Newtonian fluid kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, and this is one of the major reasons why I would prefer that my boys not play football. And that's just because it's like,
especially at a young age, because
especially at a young age, because you can get a concussion. I mean, you can get a concussion anywhere.
Yeah.
But with football, I mean, unless you've been playing since you were old enough to walk and playing with the same group of kids or playing under the same coach, that kind of a deal. I mean, coaches these days, I mean, it almost seems like, especially with the Pee Wee ranks, that, the coaches are teaching kids to run through people, and they're using their pads as a weapon. And it's like, okay, they're going to put that kid on their back, and you know, and it almost just kind of seems like the game has gotten faster, and with high increased speeds, the kinetic energy that is just dissipated on impact is gone up tenfold. And I think at a certain point, I think at a certain point, the technology for the padding is going to have to catch up. But I'm going to take the Bengals over the Saints on this one, just because I know that Joe Burrow and company are going to be hungry. They're going to be coming into New Orleans. New Orleans is basically a home game for Joe Burrows. He went to LSU, and he won his national championship in that building. So I'm taking Cincinnati over New Orleans on that one. I know the Saints fans that listen to us are going to be like, yeah, whatever, you're retarded. But much like the ill-informed comedian Joker from the other night,
God damn it.
I don't really give a fuck what you think. I mean, she just wasn't funny. I'm sorry.
She was not funny at all.
She was not funny at all. I mean, it's not as funny as the four-toothed woman, but whatever.
God,
all right. So moving on, we've got the Baltimore Ravens at the 4-1 New York Giants. I'm kind of leaning towards Baltimore on that one. The Giants are playing great football right now. They're 4-1, just like the Cowboys are 4-1. Just like the Giants and the Cowboys are 4-1. But I'm thinking I'm going to take the Ravens this week.
Just happen with the Ravens?
Well, no. I mean, they played a pretty tight game versus the we'll go over who they played last week, but I don't think that they were in the news so much. I just think that their game last week, it really came down to it was a last second field goal. So I mean, quite literally very last second.
Yeah.
Justin Tucker comes in and kicks basically what amounts to a 43-yard chip shot for him.
Yeah, we'll get that at the end.
Okay. Moving on, Tampa Bay, Tom Brady and company are going to go up to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. We're going to take Tampa Bay. We're going to take Brady all day over the Steelers because the Steelers are just not good right now. They're 1-4. I mean, that's going to be our no-brainer pick of the week. Watch, it's going to turn around and bite us in the ass. Okay, so moving on from that, Carolina, 1-4 Carolina, who's now without a head coach, is going to the 2-3 Rams. Carolina has a reason that they're playing bad football. It's because their head coach just blew and didn't know how to call a game. But the LA Rams are just kind of like they're 2-3. They have a losing record. The defending Super Bowl champions have a 2-3 record right now going into week 6 rather. But I haven't been impressed. I mean, Matt Stafford's kind of returning back to his Matt Stafford days of yore when he was playing in Detroit. I mean, the offensive line is not blocking for anything. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that he's got Cooper Kupp as a wide receiver, he wouldn't have any targets that he could depend on to catch the ball. I mean, even the defense has just been playing kind of lackadaisical. I mean, last week when the Cowboys went into SoFi Stadium to play the Rams, I mean, it was really no contest. I mean, it was all Cowboys all day long. I mean, they led from the first possession. And you're looking back at the film and you're going, but Johnny, the Rams got the first possession. Well, I'm glad that you noticed that. Thank you for skillfully participating in this conversation. If you look at the film tape, you look at the highlights, I think it was like the first or second play from scrimmage. The Rams snapped the ball, fumbled it. It wasn't DeMarcus Lawrence. One of the defensive linemen for the Cowboys picked up the ball and ran it back. I mean, the defense put up a touchdown before anybody else knew, before anybody figured that they were, that the game had started. then just the Cowboys just didn't look back from there. They protected Cooper Rush in the pocket for most of the day. Their running game, they were just shoving it. I mean, they were just running the ball. And the receiving game, the passing game was kind of picking up some of the slack there. It just they looked really dogged. I mean, they looked very lethargic. They just looked like they kind of weren't in there. Their heads weren't there. That being said, I think Carolina's in just that much of a disarray. I think it's going to be a close game. I think Carolina's going to give them a run for the money, but ultimately, I think the Rams are going to take it over the Panthers for this week. Moving on, we're talking about Arizona going up to Seattle. Neither team is playing inspired football right now. They both have losing records at 2-3. But I think that Seattle's just a little bit worse off than people think they are. I mean, I know that they're playing a home game, and that's the loudest stadium in the league, but, I don't think that that's going to be enough. I think that Arizona is going to take it over the Seahawks. And I know that a few people that I know that live in the Washington, in the Seattle area or around Puget Sound, that they're diehard Seahawks fans, and they're probably like, I regret ever meeting you kind of a thing right now, but I just don't really care. There's a couple of really great games on Sunday. Buffalo, who is 4-1, is going to the Kansas City Chiefs, who are also at 4-1. That game, it's a rematch of last year's AFC title match. Oh no, that's not true. Buffalo, it's a rematch of a playoff game. So I think it was Buffalo that played Kansas City. Kansas City ultimately ended up kind of just outlasting Buffalo before they ultimately lost to the Bengals. Before the Bengals, who them themselves lost to the Rams in the Super Bowl. But and I don't know why, man. I just don't know why. I know that the Chiefs really kind of squeaked one out, and they really, I say squeaked one out, but they really felt like last week's game was a kind of a statement game. But I think Buffalo is dangerous, man. I mean, just their quarterback is just too damn good. You can't keep bringing that same product out every week and expect it to win every week. I think Buffalo's going to figure it out this time around. This is going to be the surprise pick. I think not the upset pick of the week where we're talking about the Jets over the Packers. I think the surprise pick is there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, well, they're playing in Kansas City. Buffalo's coming in. They really don't have a lot of, pull, but I think the Bills Mafia is going to show up and show out, and I think that the Bills are going to take it. They're going to walk out of there with the W over the Chiefs. The Sunday night game is going to be Dallas, who is 4-1, coming into Philadelphia. Philadelphia is 5-0 right now, and they have the division lead right now, but I think that, Philadelphia really hasn't been playing anybody.
Anybody important, at least.
Yeah. So I honestly think, and it's not just because, by attrition that the Cowboys have become my team, so to speak, but
it's okay, man, if you feel those scars on the back.
It's not so much that I feel the scars on my back because I'm not being asked to change my name to Toby, but oh wow, that was a reach of a joke right there.
Yeah, it's I got it.
I think that I think Dallas is playing solid football. They're playing inspired football.
Yeah,
they're really kind of a team out on a mission right now. Dak Prescott has already been ruled out for the coming week. There was some talks that he was going to be the starter coming into Philadelphia, but I don't know if he's had a setback or not. But I know that the surgery that he had on his hand Really, I don't think that they're. I really think that they thought he was going to be further along. Look for Dak to maybe come back next week, but Cooper Rush is getting
I
started.
give it 2 weeks because hand surgery is totally different. Because if he's
It
out,
is. It
so
is, and he needs to be able to prove that he can grip that ball and
yeah,
throw it the way that it needs to be thrown. Um, I look for Dallas to take their balanced attack there. I mean, they've really went from a very pass heavy team to more of a 50-50 run pass team. And, it just kind of reminiscent of the old school smash mouth football. And, I'm picking Dallas um, over the Eagles. That's just it.
and
Which is going to make Dallas 5-1. It's also going to make Philadelphia 5-1. Now, on record, Dallas and Philadelphia after the end of Sunday night should have the same winning percentage, but Dallas will actually hold sole possession of first place in the NFC East after Sunday night because they will have the tiebreaker over the Eagles. So that's what we're going to put our mark on. We're going to put our money on Dallas. I think it might be like a 10-point game. I mean, honestly, I think it is. Going into Monday night, we're looking at Denver playing the Los Angeles Chargers. Neither team is playing well, but I'm going to take the Chargers on that one because Russell Wilson's just playing that poorly. So we're going to take the Chargers over the Donkeys of Denver. So let's kind of recap that real quick. Then we're going to jump into the scores from last week. But Chicago over Washington. I love how I can't say the word Chicago without going Chicago. Chicago.
He's still doing it, man.
Chicago over Washington. The Niners over the Falcons. New England over the Browns. Jets over the Packers. Colts over the Jags. Vikings over the Dolphins. Cincinnati to beat New Orleans. Ravens over the Giants. Tampa Bay over the Steelers. Rams over the Panthers, Arizona over the Seahawks. Buffalo's going to go into Kansas City and shock the world. The Dallas is going to beat up on the Eagles, and the Chargers are going to beat the Broncos. So let me go ahead and get that sent over to you real quick. Do what now?
You want to get a hold of Colin? It's not over.
Yeah, that's what I'm fixing to do right now.
Okay. When you do that, I'll get this set up.
So there's that. All right, so I sent you that link. All right, so let me get the direction for the directional mic set up here.
There we go.
I'm going to turn off the sound for just a minute. All right. Can you hear me now, David?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly fine now.
Okay. Colin, you still there? Oh my God in heaven. Colin, can you still hear me? You need to use your words. Okay.
Okay.
David, can you hear us?
Wow. Yes, perfectly fine.
Okay. All right. Let me do your intro.
Before you couldn't hear me, I could hear David.
Okay. All right. So let me do the intro here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, it is that time once again where my offspring enters into the arena. He enters the chat. He brings forth holy Armageddon of humor. It is joke time with Colin. All right, bud. Let's go.
Why can't gay people join the army? Because they can't shoot straight.
Wow. Wow. That's funny. That's sad and funny.
Yep.
David, your microphone's way down, dude. I can barely hear you.
Mine?
Yeah.
It must be on your end because all my stuff is up, up, up.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, hey, bud. I know that we don't get to get this weekend, but we're going to get next weekend.
Yeah.
So I love you. Give your brother a hug for me, and I will call you later. Okay.
Wait, I got one more thing.
Oh, you got one more?
No. This, I want you to spell it out once I say it. I will see you in T. I will. Okay, you got the word spelled in your head?
Yeah, I know. I will see you in T.
I will see you late next time.
You know what? We should.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on. I've got it. David, I have just had an epiphany.
Okay.
Gonna do that at the end of.
No. We need to copyright that, right?
Okay.
Check it out. Copyright it, dude.
That is fucking hilarious.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, angry faithful of all ages. Hey, Sally Curl. That is my genetic code on display for your eyes and your ears. I hope and pray that not only did he feel you or leave you feeling like you needed to go to church, but he left your ear holes as used up and put away as wet as a disheveled hooker. Colin?
Mm-hmm.
I see you in T.
Yep. Wait, how far are my jokes reaching now? Because Gabriel doesn't believe me.
David, do you want to give him the rundown on how our viewership or listenership in the UK has gone up 17%?
No, not 17, 7.
Oh, is it 7? I thought it was 17.
No, it's 7.
It's gone up 7? But he's
it's
still
gone
getting...
up to 7. We were
Colin
only at like 1%. Now we're at 7. Yeah. We're also getting Australia and some other place. I think Germany too.
Yeah, Australia and Germany. So there you go, Colin. You have become an international phenomenon. Bow before his spuditude.
Yep.
All right, bud. I love you 3,000. I'll talk to you later.
6,000. Bye.
Joke time with Colin, everybody. Brought to you by me.
Now you gotta turn your mic towards you again.
Yeah. Right there. See? Right there.
There we go. Awesome.
The view, my wife is sticking her head in. Come here. Oh, he's going to bed? Okay. Oh.
So
Colin's joke of the week this week was why can't gay people join the military? Because they can't shoot straight. Right. But then he came up with something we're going to try very hard to get copyrighted. Spell this out in your head. I-C-U-N-T. Right? You got the word? Right? It's I'll see you next time. I can't.
While Johnny's getting his kisses and everything, other football news, Texas obliterated OU.
Oh, Texas and Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry, the Red River Shootout at the Cotton Bowl at the state fair. Texas, man, I tell you, those digital billboards that you see that TxDOT's got where they put like the warnings on there and stuff like, it's not a race, stay alive, give space, that stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they were completely savage. I can't find it now, and I can't. You know what? Let me see if I can find it.
I'll find it. You go up with the.
Even TxDOT was getting in on it. 49-0.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Images. One sign says, horns up, phones down, it can wait. The eyes of Texas are upon you, buckle up. Let me see here. Let me see here.
Oh, let them pass just like the OU defense does.
Yeah. Let me see here. There was a couple more. I mean, there was one. It was like Boomer Sooner. It was like Boomer Sooner. It was a play on Boomer Sooner, right? Which is what, for whatever reason, OU talks about Boomer Sooner. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, it just kind of, I don't know. Let me see here. Yeah, let people pass you just like OU's defense. Better hook them or we'll book them. Buckle up. It's just like, whew, man. I mean, it was savage, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the game of the week, Saturday, Tennessee is hosting undefeated 5-0 Tennessee is hosting undefeated 5-0 Alabama. You know,
the Roll Tide's not gonna.
Roll Tide is not gonna roll through Tennessee. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, Tennessee's gonna give them a run for their money. I mean, I honestly think that Tennessee's going to actually have a chance to beat Alabama this year. I really do. I mean, because their quarterback is just playing.
Wait a minute. Justin did one. Hold on. Let me see if I can find his. Okay. No. Let me turn my sound now. Oh, our TikTok's almost to 100.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. There we go. Let me turn this up.
Your house. Hey, it's about time for bed, Bubba.
One question. Why does Tennessee wear that ugly orange?
Well, it's so they can root for the Volunteers on Saturday. They can go hunting on Sunday and pick garbage up on the side of the road on Monday.
Oh, Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Hey, it's about.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hilarious. Anyways, so the rest of the sports news, your humbleness on this one after going against the great Chris.
Hold on, let me see if I can.
I don't know why you would go against Nantris.
You know what? Shut up. I'm
the prophet Chris.
The prophet. The prophet. Huh. Okay. All right. All right.
I'll make this super, super fast.
I know. I'm working on it. Shut up. Okay. All right. So last week I had Denver over Indianapolis. Got that one wrong. Green Bay over the New York Giants. We got that one wrong. Buffalo over Pittsburgh. Kind of a no-brainer there. We had Cleveland over to the Chargers. Chargers barely got that one. Jacksonville over Houston. Kind of a no-brainer there. I mean, as bad as Jacksonville is, Houston's even worse. Minnesota over Chicago. Detroit over New England. Yes. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, listening audience, viewing audience, international, national, domestic, foreign, all that good stuff. If it wasn't for the fact that I am currently full from having a full meal tonight, smoked pork chops, and we're talking 1-inch thick pork chops, couscous, green beans and finished it off with a bowl full of dark chocolate drizzled chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream, I would be eating a plate full of crow right now. So Chris, if you're listening, you told me so. However, in true infantry fashion, I need to add a caveat to that. Don't let your head get too big. Because like your belly. If your head gets too big, it'll prevent you from seeing what's left of your small shriveled deck. Okay.
He's not even here to defend himself, and you're doing the thing.
So we had Seattle over New Orleans. Forget how that one went. Let me get the scores from last week. All right, so yeah, the Chargers beat the Bills. Well, actually, no, the Texans did beat the Jaguars. So the Texans did crack the win column, and I was remiss because there's no Texans game this week because they're on a bye week. The Bears dropped a game to the Vikings. The Lions shit a goose egg. They laid an egg. That's what they did. 29-0 to the Patriots. The Seattle Seahawks go into the Superdome in New Orleans and lost. So we got that one wrong. Miami lost to the Jets. We had it going we had that one right. We had Jets over Miami.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay over Atlanta. Atlanta has yet to beat Tom Brady. They have not beaten Tom Brady yet. Just putting it out there. 15-21.
No one. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT, son.
And he's the GOAT who's fixing to get very single very fast.
Yeah.
So there's hope for you yet, David. I'm just saying. The Titans beat the Commanders. So we had that one right. The 49ers over the Panthers. We had that one correct. We had Philadelphia over Arizona. So we got that one right. I had Dallas beating the Rams. And if I remember correctly, somebody told me that wasn't going to happen.
I'm a fucking moron. I'll be the first one to tell everybody. I mean, if anybody comes up to me and it's like, how could you even think that would work? Because I'm a fucking moron. That's why.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I'm able to breathe by myself.
Yeah, we had the Bengals over Baltimore. We had that one wrong because Baltimore ended up beating the Bengals on that last second Justin Tucker field goal.
Yeah, that was a
good game.
That was a good game.
It was a really good game. And then the Chiefs over the Raiders. What's funny about the Raiders, Davante Adams, the wide receiver for the Raiders, shoved a photographer walking back into the tunnel after the game. The photographer was taken to the hospital because he's a little pussy who can't take a spill. Gets treatment for said injuries, and then
what was it? A uterus injury?
Yeah, it was a uterine lining injury. And then he's gonna be that one random person that trips across this podcast, this coming week.
Those motherfuckers.
Those motherfuckers. I'm gonna sue them for defamation. Like, bring it, dude. I ain't got shit for you to win anyway, so whatever, bring it.
If you want dreams and shining rocks, you can go ahead and take those.
Hopes and dreams, and they're shattered. They're shattered, just like your mom's spine when she fell off the pole. Anyways, it was funny because the Raiders Twitter account was like now embracing Davante Adams as a true Raider because he didn't apologize. He's like, now he's a real Raider, and I'm like, that's comedy gold right there. But the league is looking at suspending him. I think the league actually did suspend him for 2 games. He's looking at possible assault charges. And I'm just like, come on, man. I mean, should he have done it? No. Did the photographer need to press charges? No. Dude, take your lumps.
Here's another thing: did the photographer get into his face?
I mean, he kind of did. I mean, he stepped in front of Davante Adams in that tunnel, snapping pictures, and Davante Adams was just like, whatever, get the fuck out of my face. So, do I blame Davante? No, I don't. I don't blame it. I don't blame him at all. I mean, you're basically getting into somebody's grill in their office.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't know, man.
It's not like one of those camera guys killed a freaking royalty or anything like that, so you can't be like really
right. I mean,
soon.
Yeah. I mean, it would be different. Oh, actually, no, it's not any different. I mean, it's.
I don't have any I don't have any kind of like sympathy to any kind of photographer.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you something. I think that this is the universe trying to make an attempt to right itself, because the last time that a photographer went into a tunnel, Princess Diana was killed.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
So,
that's what I was trying to get at too.
Okay. So I articulated the thought process. Okay.
There we go.
I have to know that we're on the same sheet.
Yeah.
All right. So, NASCAR news. All right. So there was an elimination race at the Roval, the road course / the oval / road course at Charlotte. That's why they call it the Roval. Road, oval, Roval. Get it? It's a play on words.
Yay.
Anyways, it was kind of a boring race. Passing was a premium. Cars weren't catching fire or anything like that, but cars were breaking. Toe-in links, control arms, things of that nature. Kyle Larson, our defending champion, has been eliminated from the playoffs because of his finishing position. There's controversy involving that. Chase Briscoe, who drives the number 41 car. Oh, well, no, I'm getting that wrong. Hold on. Oh, come on. I saw it. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so the Stewart-Haas team had a driver that was able to, Chase Briscoe drives a 14 car. That's what it is. And then Cole Custer, who's driving the 41 car for Stewart-Haas Racing, he basically dove into a chicane on the back side of the track, probably about, I don't know, 120, 130 miles an hour, slammed on his brakes, basically impeded. I mean, he dove into the racing groove. There was absolutely no way that he was going to make that turn to get through those chicanes without using another car as a pick. And when he did that in the process, it held up a bunch of other cars. Now you're going to hear a bunch of people that are talking about, well, isn't that the point of teams where you can help your teammates out? Yes and no. I think that there was some deliberate manipulation being done. I know that people like Parker Kligerman would probably argue that point, and he has argued that point on his TikTok page. But I don't know. I mean, I think Cole Custer, I mean, he kind of screwed over a lot of people, and there was a piece of advertising. There was a sign that had come off of one of the inside walls that had come detached and actually found its way onto the track, but it was in the outside groove. In that particular section of the track, everything was single file racing, and that sign was in a bunch of tire debris, and it was what they call the marbles, right? The rubber, as it heats up, it beads off and kicks off the tire.
We'll go over this.
Yeah. So that sign was actually laying in a spot of marbles, and it was just tire debris and junk. And it was outside the racing groove. Well, NASCAR felt that it was necessary to throw a caution. Chase Elliott was leading the race at that point by a considerable margin. All he had to do was hit his marks. He could have just kind of run his way to the checkered flag. They bunched the field back up, and that unnecessary caution caused an additional restart after that. It cost a bunch of people playoff spots, and the better part of about $300,000 to $400,000 worth of crash damage done to different race cars all throughout the field. Yeah. Because when you do a restart that late in the race, it's a green, white checker restart, right? Everybody's trying to get in and trying to get as much track position as possible on those restarts, and they will be willing to move anybody and everybody out of the way, especially the playoff drivers that were close to the cutoff line that were in danger of being eliminated, because this was an elimination race. So, it really, I think that the caution didn't need to get thrown. Because you had cars spinning all over the track, but they were able to get going again. And normally NASCAR is very notorious for every time somebody spins on a road course, they throw the yellow. Yeah. It's just, we've just seen it.
But it's more of a safety factor after that.
Yes and no. Okay. If you're going to take racing in that particular turn too wide, then yeah, fine. But at no point during the course of the race that day, from beginning to the point when they threw the yellow, was it in danger of being a part of, being in the racing groove. It was in the marbles. Nobody's going to run their car out there. All that tire debris is going to stick to your tires, and it's going to ruin your handling. It's going to cause you to spin. Nobody's going out there. NASCAR could have very easily had somebody go over there, wait until the racing was away from that area, run out onto the track, grab it, because it's a 2.5 mile road course. It's not 2.5 miles, but it's a road course, and just get out there and get it. Because you've got safety workers with covers, or entrances or openings in those fences all over that track. And it's to allow safety personnel to get to a driver in a timely fashion. You take one of those safety workers, over to one of those entrances or one of those openings in the wall, and when the pack passes you, run out there like you trying to steal something, grab the sign, and haul your ass back in, behind the wall. Easy peasy. I don't agree with the caution. I think that the NASCAR could have handled it a lot differently. But that's just my humble, uneducated opinion. Again, I'm not somebody who races cars for a living. I've got nothing to do with NASCAR professionally. They don't pay my bills. They don't put food on my table. If anything, racing costs me money because I'm the one buying the memorabilia. I'm the one buying T-shirts and, going to the events and spending my money to go sit in the seats. But I don't know. I just think that I think that they need to be more consistent and more precise with the criteria, because now they've set a precedent. So if a road sign goes out into a non-raced part of a turn on a track somewhere, specifically the road courses,
it's all fair and games.
Yeah, they're going to have to throw the caution, because if they don't do it the next time, if there's any one thing that I think I remember over the course of the years that I've been watching this sport, is the fact that you've got a lot of drivers complaining about the consistency upon which NASCAR enforces their rules.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. I said that there was going to be a concussion tie-in with NASCAR. So Right now, I mean, they're talking about, I mean, the design of the race car that they're using now, the crunch or the crunch zones on the cars are smaller than they were on the previous generation car. So the drivers are feeling more of the energy from the impacts. Now they're looking at, I think I read somewhere earlier that they're looking at the seats as not being stable enough around the head. Yes, they're wearing Hans devices. Hans is HANS. It's head and neck restraint system. It's something that they clip onto their body and then clip into their helmet. And it keeps their heads from going like this, right? And it keeps their heads from turning side to side, but it doesn't keep their heads from bouncing back and forth. And it just with the safety features on this car, I was listening to Dale Jr.'s download on the way back from Wichita Falls earlier this week. Dale Jr. and is talking about, him and Mike Davis were talking about, it's almost like these cars have gone backwards, as related to the previous generation car, the old car. And that's not where we want to go. NASCAR's kind of almost seemed to have lost its way a little bit as far as like profitability, marketability. I'm still not completely convinced on the Chicago street course race for next year. I get that that's a market that they want to get into, and it's vital to go into these markets that have either seemed forgotten or have not been tapped yet to, very specifically just kind of get in there and expose the sport to a new market and to bring people into it.
But that's
the TV rights deals are being negotiated. Though the problem with the TV deals is the fact that you got your broadcast and then you got your streaming platforms like your Peacocks, it's, Hulus and stuff like that. Now I know that like Fox has a deal with Hulu. I know that the NBC network that gets the second half of the season, they own USA Network. They also own Peacock. And they, something they may, if a race goes long, they'd be like, okay, well, we're moving this over to the Peacock streaming platform. And that's just forcing people to buy a streaming service. It's almost to the point now. I mean, you remember everybody was talking about how they're cutting the cord, getting rid of cable, and they're going to streaming only because of one reason or the other. And they were talking about the biggest reason being the cost. But that's not so much the thing anymore, because everybody's got a streaming profile and everybody's got exclusive content. And so, I mean, you're spending almost as much on cable or on streaming services rather than you are cable now, or at least, used to be. And I don't know, it just, the argument kind of gets a little lost in the, in the endless series of handshakes. But
no, I had that theory like once Netflix started streaming their stuff, is because Netflix really started this whole streaming thing. Fun fact, Netflix actually offered itself up for sale to Blockbuster Video. Yeah,
because you remember Netflix back in the day, it was a home, it was a mail DVD rental service.
Yeah, and Blockbuster almost didn't. It was, I watched that documentary on Blockbuster.
Well, they were like, yeah, no, we're not going to buy you because this will never catch on. People are always going to want to come to the store on a Friday night. And as it is, there's one operating, independently owned and operated Blockbuster Video in existence.
Fucking hilarious. No. What's fucking hilarious is the documentaries. If you go on Netflix, the last Blockbuster. That's where that's where the documentary's at. It's on Netflix.
Yeah,
that's why it's so sad is I didn't put like 2 to 2 together until like I didn't put 1 to 1 together until like right now.
That Blockbuster Video store sells its own swag, and it can't keep it in stock.
Yeah. It has memorabilia.
Yeah.
It has like,
and I'm like, man, I mean,
and it's
it wasn't a
footage
Friday
from the
night.
cars.
It wasn't a Friday night or / Saturday morning unless, you were going into Blockbuster to pick out what movies you're going to watch with the friends and family that evening. And then you knew that before you took that bastard back that you looked at the tape to see if it was rewound and it had Be Kind rewind sticker on there.
Yeah.
No, you just never lived, because you could spend what, $2 or $3 to rent a movie. Or no, back then it was like 99 cents to $1.99 to rent a movie, but then you're going to spend like $20 in candy.
Yeah.
But so talking about the concussion protocol stuff that for NASCAR, Alex Bowman released a statement earlier today. He's still going to be out of the car. He said he's going to be out of the car for at least another 3 weeks, which is going to basically, the earliest that he can come back now at this point is going to be Phoenix, the last race of the year. Noah Gragson, who drives the number 9 car for the number 9 Bass Pro Black Rifle Coffee car for Dale Jr.'s Motorsports, on the Xfinity side, he's filling in for Alex Bowman, running that car so that way the Allied sponsors can get their track time. But he's still suffering from concussion symptoms, and he doesn't feel right getting back into the car currently. So I mean, he's like, talked to doctors.
At least he's able to admit it. Like some of these,
and then Kurt Busch is doing the same. Kurt Busch is the same way. Ty Gibbs is filling in for him over at 23XI Racing, running his Monster Energy car. Concussions, everybody has known about concussions in NASCAR racing. It's been a problem for years, and nobody really addressed it until Dale Jr. took time away from the car at the end of his career to get healed.
Yeah.
And, so I mean, Dale Jr., part of his legacy, I mean, he may not have won championships and he may not have won tons of races, but part of his legacy is the fact that I think he did a very huge part. He had a very huge part in trying to make the sport better. I mean, he's very big.
Just by taking that little bit of step, he improved his sport.
Yeah. I mean, he stepped away from it and said, hey, look, this is a problem, and this is something that it's okay to get help for. And I found his book out in the garage the other day. It's called Racing to the Finish, and it talks about his journey through those concussions. But it's something NASCAR definitely needs to look at. We've got 4 weeks left in the season, and once that champion is crowned at the end of the year, NASCAR's got to get on the ball, because Speed Weeks will start up in February.
You think they're going to wait until the next car change up, or do that?
No. Last week, Dale Jr. download, or this week's Dale Jr. download guy, their guest, he's in charge of the R&D, and so he's constantly looking. I mean, they're constantly looking at the car, trying to say, okay, what can we do better? How can we fix this? And they've got committees with drivers on them. They've got people from the competition side, from the safety side, from the drivers. I mean, they're getting a lot of input on this car. And this is really the first year that they have fielded this car, but they should have waited another year to field this car, honestly, before, they rolled it out, because it's got so many bugs. And, using real world applications in people's livelihood and their health as a test bed for, to find out to use it as a litmus test to find out as to whether or not you did it right. I think NASCAR completely missed the mark on it. I think they pushed this car out for optics, pure, plain and simple. But, and it's, we've got 2 top tier drivers at the top series who have taken time away from the car. both of them were in the playoffs, and they're out of the car. They're having a substitute driver driving their car for the rest of the year, basically, because concussions. And the concussions came from the fact that this car has safety flaws in it. Smaller crumple zones, which means the drivers are feeling more energy from the impacts. I mean, it's not that they're driving harder and driving faster and that the angles are different. It's just the fact that there's the crumple zone is designed to dissipate the energy of an impact before it gets to the driver.
Yeah.
And this car has smaller crumple zones. The drivers are feeling more of the impacts. Kyle Larson's talking about it. Kevin Harvick's talking about it. Alex Bowman, he's got concussions because of it. Kurt Busch, concussions because of it. And it's not as safe as they need it to be. And they really need to step their game up and during the offseason to get this car ready, because they need to get these safety implementations or these safety improvements implemented in the cars and get that information filtered out and disseminated to the teams in time for them to put this stuff in action and in place in the cars before they roll out for the clash at the LA Coliseum next February. And that's all there is to it. So, I mean, and especially the following week, you got the Daytona 500. That's a super speedway. That's a plate track, and you're reaching speeds of up to 200 plus miles an hour, and it's dangerous. I mean, the sport is inherently dangerous to begin with, but when you got guys going that fast, inches off of each other's doors, and the wind is just buffeting these cars around, it doesn't take very much for somebody to get just the right amount of air up underneath their car. They get sideways and start spinning down the back stretch or down the front stretch at over 100 miles an hour. And if a corner of the car catches anything wrong, that car is going end over end, maybe a little bit of airborne, and in the past has gone into the catch fence, and taken spectators and putting them in the line of fire. And we've even had people die at these tracks. And it's because the energy from these impacts are just rifling through the body of that driver. So, if you want a product, if you want a racing product that is going to keep fans in the seats, keep people tuning in at home, these drivers need to feel comfortable in these cars. They need to be able to strap into these cars knowing that, yes, I could have a wreck, but I know that I'm going to walk away from it. And I think that, I mean, they're one bad day away from having a vote of no joy put on this car, and drivers going, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
You'll see a race running at about 120 around a big track, and that will be terrible for ratings, terrible for ticket sales. But drivers ultimately are going to make a point, and they're going to say enough is enough. So, but yeah, I'm. Oh, nerd news. Oh my God. Okay, I completely nerded out. The other day. Let me see here.
What'd you do?
Okay, so the Houston Arcade and Pinball Expo.
Oh yeah.
The weekend of November 11th, celebrating their 20th show. This I just completely flipped out. Special guests this year, Lance Guest and Catherine Mary Stewart. Now, you're like, what? Why should those names mean anything to me? Well, that's Alex Rogan and Maggie from The Last Starfighter.
I know.
Dude, I've got my Star League t-shirt ordered. And I told Mindy, I was like, dude, this can be my birthday present. I have to go to this show. I've got the original Nintendo Last Starfighter video game. It's nothing like the arcade game that they played in the movie, but it's one of those really bad movie knockoff video games. But I've still got the original cartridge from my Nintendo. I'm going to see if I can get him to sign it, and then I've got my Blu-ray flipping around this house somewhere. I'm going to track it down, and I'm going to have him sign it. I'm going to frame those bastards. But dude,
you had to take.
It's Alex, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm going to take my phone and I'm going to see if I can get him to, I'm going to tell him about our show. And I'm going to be like, hey man, can I get a soundbite from you, dude? I just real quick, like, hey, this is Lance Guest, Alex Drogan from The Last Starfighter. If you're not tuning into Angry Me, then you're evil.
You'll figure it out. You got.
I'd be like, don't be like the forces of Zurg. Listen to Angry Me, or something like that.
Yeah, that would actually probably work.
That would be great. But I'm like sitting there going, oh my God, it's Alex and Maggie. What? No. I mean, I got goosebumps. I'm freaking out. I'm like, I'm bouncing around in the car. And Mindy's looking over at me and she's like, what? And I was like, check it out. Look. And she's like, you're so cute when you get excited about stuff. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But all right, man, I think we could go ahead and land this plane.
Yeah.
I think it was a pretty good show. Again, we apologize for it being late, but I had personal business earlier in the week that prevented me from being actually physically on camera. And then last night I sat down to eat with my family and I just lost track of time, dude. I mean, we're sitting there, we're watching Hidden Figures last night. The movie about the black women who worked at NASA during the 60s. Really excellent movie. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's on Disney Plus. But yeah, I made it a point. Like, we needed to get this episode in. But I appreciate everybody tuning in. I think what we're going to probably do, I'm going to start researching European football leagues over the next couple of weeks. Because when we first introduced European football as a segment of the show, I really want it to be a big deal.
Yeah.
So, because if there's any way to like kill the numbers from the European continent coming in, it's to sound like a complete blithering idiot when you're talking about football. So, I'm going to do my research on that, and then you and I can sit down, we can spitball it, we can kind of war plan it and everything like that. But I really want us to be able to do it right.
Yeah, what's really strange is our YouTube numbers are actually going down a little bit, but everything else is going up. It's
because I think everybody's kind of migrating away from YouTube as it is.
That's why I put all of our stuff on all platforms, not just
But let's go ahead and land this plane. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I've got a jumper in the door. So
okay. I'm David Dickerman, and this is Johnny Skelton, and this is Nerd Sports.
Oh, you botched that ending up all together. Try that again.
That was.
You are.
I'm David Dickerman,
and I'm Johnny Skelton. Thank you for listening to Nerd Sports episode, apparently number 78.
Yes.
Bam.